Hi everyone, my name is Ijaz and today we'll see how a WebSocket connection is established, and later on in the video I'll go over some code to show WebSocket communication in action. So WebSocket is a communication protocol. So what other communication protocol do we know? Well, HTTP, our World Wide Web, runs on HTTP protocol. WebSocket connection is persistent. That means the connection is not closed unless intentionally closed or because of an interruption. Full duplex, both client server can send data anytime to each other, and it allows for real-time bidirectional communication over TCP connection. WebSocket protocol has two parts: handshake and data transfer. Handshake is the initial agreement between the client and server before switching to WebSocket protocol from HTTP. Over here we can see two boxes, a client and a server. To establish a WebSocket connection, the client, usually a web browser, sends a regular HTTP GET request to the server, asking to establish a WebSocket connection. This request contains a few additional headers to indicate the intention to upgrade the connection to WebSocket. Now, the additional headers I'm talking about here are upgrade, which has to be WebSocket, connection, which has to be upgrade, then a WebSocket key, which is a base 64 encoded value generated by client for the handshake, and WebSocket version. Over here you can see it is 13, which means RFC 6455, and the protocol, which is optional header, where we can give a list of sub-protocols or just one sub-protocol. If not provided, the server will decide how to handle the connection on its own. So once the server receives this request, it will process, and if all goes fine, then the server returns back HTTP 101 status code, which is the switching protocol, and the list of headers that it will send back are, you can see, the upgrade. Again, its WebSocket connection is upgrade, and the protocol it has chosen, like in the request it was chat and super chat, but in the response it has returned the protocol as chat. So that is the protocol that the server will communicate in. And the interesting header over here is the WebSocket accept, which is another string, and in the request also we had something similar, but it was a key, which was another string. So the thing is, the WebSocket accept header is formed by the WebSocket server by concatenating the WebSocket key from the request with a magic string, then takes the SHA-1 hash of the concatenated string, and then base 64 encodes that string and returns it in the accept header. Now once the server returns HTTP 101 status code, that means the protocol has been upgraded from HTTP to WebSocket. So the WebSocket connection is now established, and now the client can send any message to the server, and the server can send any message to the client anytime. So I will go over this WebSocket example to show WebSocket handshake and data transfer in action. So in this example, as soon as we launch this page, I'll go over the network tab. So over here you can see, as soon as I refresh this page, so this page is launched. So from the server I am fetching the HTML, and in this request you can see that in the request headers we have connection upgrade. So because as soon as the page is launched, I'm attempting to make a WebSocket connection. So as we saw in the slides, that the request headers should have connection upgrade, it should have upgrade WebSocket, then there has to be a version. So we have version 13, then there has to be a key. So there is some basic 64 encoded string over here. So this is the request, and if the response is successful, like if the server agrees for a upgrade to WebSocket from HTTP, so you can see that the connection is upgrade, the upgrade is WebSocket, and we have an accept, and the status code is 101 switching protocols. So this means our WebSocket connection was successful. Now if I try to send something, let's say Yeah, so let's say hello. So over here I have written me, so whenever I send something, so after me I'm just printing that message that I'm sending, and then what the server replies back. So I am sending, once I send a message to the server, I'm sending a message back from the server, uh, and that's what I'm trying to print here. So the server says you sent me hello, so maybe how are you, and you can see, so it just keeps on adding up here. So we can also see the messages all over here. So next is I will go over the code, that quickly go over the code that I have written for this. So this is an Express application. The package.json file, you can see I have just Express and Express WebSocket WS, which is one of the package that we can use with Express in order to set up a WebSocket connection. And in the index.html, you can see we have a form. On this h1 we have the form which have an input and a button, so it's of type submit, and whatever messages or the conversation that is being done between the client and the server, I'm just putting it here in the unordered list. So you can see that inside the script tag we have this WebSocket connection being created with the WebSocket object, and you can see it has to be WS if it is local, and if we are deploying it in the net, so I don't think WS will work. It has to be WSS because it has to be a secure connection, otherwise there might be issues. So for locally it is WS because I have not set up any SSL or TLS. The next thing is if the connection is open, so you can see that the socket object that we just created, now we're just adding an event listener, because if the WebSocket connection is successful, and then we can just print that WebSocket connection is successful. Now other things that we want to work after the connection is active, we can put it here. So what I want is this is the form, like WS form, you can see, or what I want is if the form is submitted, so that's why I have added an event listener. If we submit this form, then I'm just preventing the default and extracting the message out of the text box, sorry, the input text, and then I'm sending that message to the server, and I'm just cleaning that text message from the input box, and then I'm just adding it in the unordered list. Now with this it will send the message to the server, and then if the server returns back, or if the server sends back any message, so I'm catching it here where I'm extracting the data from event, so it will be event.data, and then in the add conversation it is the method that I have created, a function I have created here, where in the unordered list I'm just appending the message by adding the source, that is if it is me then it will be me, if it is server then it will be a server, and then in the close, so if we want to close the connection, so we'll just create we'll just handle it, and we'll just console.log that connection is closed. Now going to the server side code, so you can see we have Express WebSocket. Now in order to set it up, we first create an Express app, and then we pass it to expressjs. Now this is the HTML that I'm serving as a static file. I'm just sending this file, the HTML we just saw, and now in general app.ws we never have this method, but because we installed expressjs package, so we have this feature, so which is very much like app.get, app.post, so app.ws for handling the WebSocket requests. So over here you can see if this if this is successful, so it says that the WebSocket connection is established, and if we receive a message, so the message that we were sending from the client, like hi, hello, or how are you, everything that we sent, so over here it over here you can see it has printed those messages, and it is sending back like websocket.send, so you sent me, that's what we were printing it on the front end. Now if we close it, so definitely this is the message that this is how we are handling it, and we are just printing a console.log. And because this is an Express, so we are just listening to the port 3000. So it's a very simple, very basic application that I created just to give a brief demo of how the WebSocket connection is established. And but if you want this is the package actually that I'm using in here. Now if you want to create something, so there are other packages as well, like socket.io, that also you can try for WebSockets, like maybe a chat application, I think. Okay, so that's it in this video. Thank you for watching, and if you like it, then you can hit like, and if you want to see more such content, you may subscribe to the channel. Thank you.